Polarization. It affects almost every aspect of American political life.
Instead of voters being shaped by news, news is being shaped for voters.
More protests and uprisings are expected in Minnesota and across the country.
Overnight, police did use tear gas to disperse the crowds.
I use Instagram a lot. I use Twitter for a specific friend group that I have. I use Discord a lot.
I use Instagram, Snapchat are probably my two top platforms that I go on.
I use Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and sometimes Facebook.
You probably think of social media as a form of entertainment, or you might see it as a way to communicate with people. For some, these applications on their phone might even be imperative to their social life. Today, the United States seems more divided than ever. Our political climate has been very quickly adapting to this new age of information. But what most people don't see is how these platforms were carefully crafted to manipulate you in ways you probably aren't even aware of.
This is the year we're going to take back the House, we're going to take back the Senate, and we are going to take back America.
Following the events of the 2016 and 2020 elections, there have been massive increases in protests and uprisings, such as the riots following the murder of George Floyd and the Capitol riots of January 6th. And at the heart of all of these events is social media. How did these services that were meant to connect us eventually come to drive us apart? What could have led to the creation of this environment? Its influence over us as a society keeps growing and growing, and it needs to be addressed. And how can we improve on this issue before it's too late? In the early days of social media, you had things like MySpace and Facebook. It was this new space where you could share things about yourself, like what sports you play, what your favorite movies were, and to add all your friends and make new ones. But in 2009, Facebook introduced the like button, where everyone is rewarded and things become ranked and graded with a single click. And just like that, social media instantly becomes this popularity contest of who can get the most likes and the most attention. At around the same time, Twitter adds the retweet button. Now posts that make people angry or emotional can be spread to everyone else with just one click, and that anger can reach millions in just a single day. Facebook also switched from a chronological newsfeed to a more algorithmicized newsfeed to optimize for engagement. So things that make people engage more then get put at the top of everyone else's page. Even what you're shown on Google changes from person to person. This plan was very successful in increasing engagement, but it also created the perfect environment for toxic content to thrive. Now, not only was it so easy to reach such a large number of people so quickly, the more hate you spread, the faster it would reach them. These few companies have been thriving on these psychological mechanisms that drive increased polarization and the spread of fake news for over a decade. Now they've managed to entirely shift the fundamental information structure of not only the internet, but of many news outlets and other companies that were forced to adapt to this new medium of communication. Social media has become deeply involved in every aspect of American political life. Small events that would not have been covered before, such as a viral video of a fight at school or celebrities beefing on Twitter, are now being addressed simply because they gained so much traction on the internet. Even if you choose to distance yourself from social media, it is still near impossible to escape its sphere of influence. Even bigger media outlets, such as news channels, are now being forced to spend more time covering these controversies because they need to stay relevant. It becomes very hard to stay focused on the more important issues when we live in a time where all the information in the world is at our fingertips.
There's been, especially right now with the Roe versus Wade, there's a lot of political messages being spread on especially Instagram and Twitter. I think especially when it comes to for right now, for example, with the whole abortion case, a part of me gets really mad when I see people being pro-life instead of pro-choice, because a majority of the people, if they don't present actual reasonable arguments that have facts to back it up, I feel angry that they aren't seeing the logic behind their statement and the other statement. The internet is a huge place. I know right now a lot of people are spreading watch out for misinformation, this is how you can avoid it and stuff, but I think we should mainly just look at people, verified news sources, verified people, and mainly take from what they say and like actual like proven documents, like government official documents and stuff when it comes to like political information. But it's very hard to avoid because anyone can alter anything.
I use Instagram, Snapchat are probably my two top platforms that I go on a daily basis. And then, I go into Safari, but I don't really use that to communicate. I witness it more so in like any Instagram post, any Snapchat story. I've seen like a lot of people swipe up on Snapchat stories and then just say like some ridiculous things. But I would say that there's always two polar opposites to any Instagram post. You can just scroll through comments and you can just see like beef with, anyone. Because you can post anything that you want on the internet. Social media is like a big outlet for communication. And I've posted things, and I don't think I've posted anything too like out there. But you could just post anything about like a meme, or because I post stuff about myself, so it's kind of hard for people to come up with like two polarizing opinions on like posting of like a picture of yourself. But I'd say if you like express opinion in a post, and that there's always going to be like some sort of disagreement.
I feel like it does depend on what they post. In most situations, I would like read it, skim it, and then skip through. I keep my opinions to myself. I have no problem with them posting what they believe in, what they stand for, or like stand by. I feel like false information tends to spread quicker just because I think it's about both, because whatever you're also posting is also giving a chance to like opening up other people's eyes to like what you believe in, even if it's like fake news. But I feel like the platforms mainly made this stuff just for chance.
People, when they lie, it tends to be more unique and interesting. When they come up with a lie, it grabs people's attention because usually the truth isn't as interesting as fake news.
Recently, some companies have made steps towards trying to lessen polarization on the internet. Since the content algorithms greatly favor content that is more likely to keep you engaged, this creates the possibility of creating echo chambers, where users are fed only the information they want to see. To counteract the possibility of any information bias, many of the social media algorithms have been tweaked to balance the type of content chosen, so users are shown a more balanced mix of opposing viewpoints. However, what these companies fail to see is that when people are shown opinions they disagree with, it has been shown in studies to actually shift them more towards their side. In a study in 2018 by the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, a large group of both Republicans and Democrats were surveyed that used Twitter at least 3 times each week about a range of social policy issues. About a week into the study, they were unknowingly shown more tweets containing opposing political ideologies from Twitter bots, while the control groups remained untouched. After about a month of surveying the participants, the data showed that exposure to opposing sides had actually backfired, and the subjects received scores that were on average either more liberal or more conservative. When these companies going around making changes to these platforms, they need to think more about the situation and try to work toward an actual solution to the problem. This all makes you wonder, could this have been an intentional decision made by the people who created these platforms?
On one hand, not intentionally, but on the other hand, I think they are not opposed to it, because if you think about it, with this being spread, people spend more time on their platform and they spend more time like looking through everything, like trying to find more of that. So I think they didn't mean for it to happen, but now that it's happening, they're fine with it.
I feel like there is a way to remove like sort of hate speech. Like you could probably censor certain words, or you could get banned for saying certain words or just saying certain offensive things. I don't think there's really a system that kind of stops us from spreading mass misinformation.
Most ways, since this is social media, you can't really fix anything. As you know, like a lot of people say like, whatever stays on the internet stays there forever, even if you deleted your post like 1 second after you posted it. It can be fixed from like the company themselves, but in general, no.
All these big companies have done so far is provide temporary solutions. They can go around banning people and removing hate speech all they want, but something fundamental would have to change about social media in order for things to actually become different. And right now, it looks like we're headed in the opposite direction.